What if I told you that most of what we've been taught about leadership is, well, just plain wrong? We have this picture in our heads, right, of a leader being a title, a position on an org chart, or some kind of magical quality you're just born with. But what if it's something totally different? Something way more accessible than you've ever imagined?
So, this is the big question we're going to tackle. For years, we've been laser focused on the person, the CEO, the president, that charismatic visionary. But what happens if we completely flip the script and focus on the action of leadership? Well, turns out it changes absolutely everything.
And look, if you've ever felt a little lost when people talk about leadership, you are definitely not alone. There's a really good reason it feels like this big, messy puzzle. And honestly, a lot of the confusion actually comes from the people who study it for a living. For starters, the research is all over the place. You've got psychologists over here, sociologists over there, business schools somewhere else, and none of their models really agree with each other. Then there's this obsession with formal titles. We only study the CEOs and managers. We totally ignore all the real leadership that happens from people without any fancy title. And maybe the most frustrating part, the advice is just so vague. Like, what does inspire a vision actually mean? What am I supposed to do? Okay, so to solve this puzzle, we need to look at it from a completely new angle. Instead of trying to find the perfect leader, we're going to define leadership as something anybody can do. It's a huge shift. We're turning leadership from a noun into a verb. Maybe the core issue isn't our answers about leadership. It's that we've been asking the wrong question all along. By focusing on who a leader is, we've put this whole idea in a tiny box. And worse, we've limited who we think is even allowed to participate. And here's that paradigm shift in a nutshell. The old question, who is a leader, sends us on a search for a single hero. But the new question, how do we participate in leadership? Well, that invites every single one of us to the table. It completely democratizes the whole idea. This new way of thinking gives us a definition that's way more useful. Leadership isn't some magical personality trait. It's a social strategy. It's a practice that's literally built out of communication. And you know what that means? It means it's a skill that you can learn, rooted in how we talk to each other to get things done together. This really cuts right to the heart of it, doesn't it? We've got to stop thinking about leadership as some promotion we have to wait for. It's an action. It's a thing you can choose to do in any meeting, any conversation. It's something you do, not a title you hold. Okay, so if leadership is something you do through communication, what does that actually look like? Well, the best way to think about it is like a toolkit, a communicative toolkit. And this toolkit has 4 main trays or functions that organize all the specific things you can do. Now, the cool thing is that these 4 functions are all connected. Don't think of them as separate styles. Think of them more like different channels you can tune into, different modes you can shift between to help a group move forward. Getting good at these gives you a complete toolkit for leading. So let's open up this toolkit. First, you've got dialogue and facilitate. That's all about getting everyone on the same page. Then you have inspire and motivate, which is about getting people excited about where you're going. Third is commit and obligate. This is where you turn talk into action. And finally, and this one is maybe the most powerful of all, is create social reality, using your words to literally shape the world of your team. All right, let's get even more practical. Inside those 4 big functions are 8 specific communication practices. These are the actual tools in your toolkit. We're talking concrete, specific actions that anyone can learn and start using right away. So, the first couple of tools are reporting and inquiring. Super simple. Reporting is just sharing what you know. Hey everyone, here's what the latest data says. Inquiring is asking questions to find out what other people know. So what are you seeing from your end? Put them together and you build a solid foundation of shared facts for the whole team. Next up, advocating and envisioning. This is where you create that spark. Advocating is putting your opinion out there. Here's what I think we should do about this. And envisioning, that's when you paint a picture of the future that makes people say, wow, I want to be a part of that. This is how you generate real energy and a sense of direction. All right, a great vision is one thing, but how do you actually make it happen? That's where our third pair of tools comes in, directing and pledging. Directing is just a clear request. Hey, could you handle that part? And pledging is making a clear promise. You got it. I'll have that done by Tuesday. These two create accountability and make sure things actually get done. And you can see just how normal this stuff is. We're not talking about making grand, formal speeches here. A direction is just dividing up the work. A pledge is just saying what you'll do and when. It's these simple, everyday sentences that create clarity and drive a team forward. Now for the final two tools, and honestly, these are almost like a superpower. Declaring is when you make something true just by saying it. Think of a judge saying, "This court is now in session." And constituting is when you use language to create a new reality, like saying, "From now on, the three of us are the launch team." It's literally using words to shape the world you're in.
So there you have it. That's the toolkit, the 4 functions and the 8 specific practices. This isn't just some abstract theory from a textbook anymore. This is a real, practical framework that you can start using, well, in your very next meeting. And if there's one thing you take away from all this, let it be this. Stop waiting. Stop waiting for a promotion, for permission, for someone to tap you on the shoulder. Leadership is a choice you get to make in every single conversation. The chance to inquire, to advocate, to pledge, it's always right there in front of you no matter what your job title is. So where do you begin? It's simple. First, just listen. In your next meeting, see if you can hear these 8 practices happening. Who's reporting facts, who's making pledges. Then just pick one to try yourself this week. Maybe you decide you're going to inquire more. And finally, start noticing who is really leading, who is actually moving the conversation forward. I bet you'll be surprised to see it's often not the person in charge. Because in the end, leadership isn't some exclusive club for the chosen few. It's a fundamentally human activity. It happens in our everyday interactions, and it is accessible to every single one of us. So leadership is a conversation. It's happening all around you all the time. With this toolkit, you're now ready to be a part of it in a whole new way. The only question left is, what are you going to say next?